Alrighty, let's see here. We are going to go ahead and kick this off. At least I think we are. Yep, there we go. So I just figured out, or I just found out rather, that apparently my little Facebook group is not qualified to use the @everyone tag. Maybe I don't have enough members, or maybe I don't know what criteria they use, but I've been using the @everyone tag, and I just figured out that not everyone is getting notified. So whatever, we'll work around it. I'm back, a couple of weeks off due to life things. Obviously, you know, between my wife and I, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 different businesses. So sometimes things get in the way. Earlier in the month of March, we were down on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for a convention, and that took me away 1 week, and then I can't remember what took me away the second week, but hey, I'm back. Everything's good. Today, we are going to talk about a couple different things. We're going to talk about Google Tag Manager as it relates to remarketing, or let me preface all this by saying that I use the term remarketing probably incorrectly. Remarketing is technically when you have people's contact information, and then you can email them, or you can text message, or you can phone call, or make a phone call, or even direct mail or whatever. That's technically remarketing. The term that I use for remarketing is more what's considered retargeting. So I use those terms almost interchangeably. But basically what we're talking about is we're talking about making sure that we've taken the steps as a business owner, as a website owner, to be able to take traffic that comes to our website through our various marketing methods, whether that's SEO marketing, whether it's paid search marketing or video marketing, some form of paid marketing, social media marketing, groups, all that sort of stuff. When we've done all this work out here in the great wide internet, and we've driven that traffic to our website, what happens to the traffic that doesn't convert to a lead or a sale on the first visit? If you're not using remarketing, then that traffic goes away, and then you are sort of left hoping that they find their way back to make contact with you. And so what we're going to talk about today is how to make sure that we're doing everything that we need to do in order to make sure that we are getting in front of those people in a way that is effective for us. And because I've been gone for 2 weeks, I don't really expect that we're going to find a lot of people joining us on the Google Meet, but I do have it live. So if they pop in, then I'll bounce back and forth and take a look at that and make sure that no one is stuck in the lobby. Until then, let's talk a bit about how do we get that traffic captured? How do we make sure that when someone comes to your website, or comes to my website, which is what we're looking at here, and they look at the gorgeous pictures, or they look at your information that you've got? Look at that guy. That was back when I had a short beard. What happens if they leave without getting into your lead funnel, or what happens if they leave without, leaving any evidence behind that you can use to contact them? So we do that with a thing called Google Tag Manager, and I'll show you guys. Google has really, over the course of, I don't know, the last few years or whatever, they've really done a good job of creating some robust systems for providing website marketers with tools to get in front of people. And part of that is self-serving for Google because they sell advertisement and they want you to buy ads from them. And in order to do that, or in order to make that environment the most productive as possible, they need to provide tools in order for us to make smart marketing choices. So I'm just going to pop right in here really quickly and show you guys what is Google Tag Manager, or what's it for? Google Tag Manager is a tag management system that allows you to quickly and easily update measurement codes and related code fragments, collectively known as tags. Wow, well, that was a mouthful, right? If you have not sort of had any dealings with Google tracking in the past, prior to Google Tag Manager, you would put what was called a Google tracking code on your website, and then also a Facebook tracking pixel on your website. Every time someone came to your website, that piece of code would be loaded, and then that person's account would then be tagged, and you would have the ability to serve them ads because they had performed these specific actions. The primary action would be visiting your website. Same thing with Facebook. A lot of what I'm going to talk about transfers over to Facebook, and I'll be honest with you, I used to do probably $150,000 to $180,000 a year in Facebook advertising, and I haven't done that for a number of years due to a lot of different things. Some of those things, and I'll just be honest with you, is Facebook has taken an overtly political stance, and I don't feel that they deserve my advertising dollars. That's one reason. The other reason is Facebook's traffic quality is horrible. And I'll show you guys in a little bit some stats on a couple of different websites that I manage, and you can see that social media traffic is not golden. Now, there's some ways that you can improve it. You can use groups, and you can do some nurturing there so that when that traffic transitions from Facebook onto your website, that has a bit higher probability of converting. But if you're just running ads on Facebook and expecting those to convert to sales on your website or to convert to bookings on your photography website, that's a tough one. That's really, really a tough one for a variety of reasons. I think probably the primary reason is that people who are on Facebook are in the Facebook mode, right? And they don't want to be taken off that platform. And so when you take them off that platform, there's something very addictive about Facebook, and we won't get into that very deeply, but we all know that, right? I mean, every time your phone dings because you got a like or a comment or whatever on your social media, your brain craves that dopamine hit and that interaction that comes from it. And so when you take someone off of that platform prematurely before they're ready to disconnect themselves, it really causes them to not want to engage with your website. And so Facebook traffic in and of itself is significantly lower in quality. Now, I do have some plans this year to do some things that I think will improve the ability to get conversions from Facebook. I will say this, that the traffic that you can buy on Facebook, if you use their ad platform, is probably the least expensive traffic that you can buy compared to, say, traffic that you buy from Google. But it's also lower quality, so there's a trade-off there, and you need to make some additional investments in order to nurture that Facebook traffic and get it to where you want it to be. So anyway, that was off in the weeds a little bit on that. Let's take a look at a couple of other things here. Google Tag Manager also interfaces with Google Analytics, and that's where sort of the magic happens. So and I'll give you just sort of a layman's rundown, and I'll include some links to some resources down below in the description of this video so you can kind of get an idea of how to implement these resources and how to use them. But Google Tag Manager basically does this. It does exactly what it says. It tags visitors based on whatever actions or criteria that you define, okay? I recommend your first criteria being simply people who have visited your website, okay? So if we go back to the thing we've talked about before, which is my primary philosophy on advertising, and that is before someone can do business with you, they need to know, trust, and love you, okay? So if they don't know about you, they can't do business with you. That's a given. If they don't trust you, they're probably not going to do business with you. Now, you know, in retail and there are some times when you can hedge that just a little bit with financial incentives, buy one get one free or whatever, or maybe someone is leaning on brand trust and the specific retailer doesn't necessarily have to be that trustworthy. So if you're buying, you know, a brand that you know and trust, and we'll just say Nike as an example, and I'm not a giant fan of Nike, but I'm just using it as a reference. If you trust Nike, then you can buy from eBay, or you can buy from Amazon, or you can buy from Facebook Marketplace with the belief that you're going to get a product of the quality that you expect from Nike because you trust that brand. The retail outlet is not necessarily that important. But when we're talking about our own businesses, we are the brand, so the know, trust, and love thing is vitally important for us. So the know phase is where your primary marketing efforts come in. So that's Google search ads, that's YouTube pre-roll ads, that's, you know, YouTube music, audio ads, which are essentially the digital era version of a radio commercial, or whatever other first contact marketing you're using, okay? So that covers the know thing. Now they know about you, okay? So now we move into the trust phase, and this is where it becomes very, very important to do remarketing because, so let's think about this. Let's think about you have the whole wide internet out there and you've done whatever advertising that you've done to segment out this pool of people who have come to your website. Now, if we want to provide them with information about our business, our brand, our photography style, what sets us apart from other photographers, yada, 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 we don't want to take this small segmented pool of people and throw them back into the giant general population on the internet and then try to market to them again, because our chances of finding them again are extremely low. That would be equivalent to catching a fish in the ocean and throwing it back in and then expecting to catch it again. That's probably not going to happen. However, if you caught 10 fish and you put them in a bucket, the chances of you being able to catch that fish again are incredibly higher in comparison, okay? So that Google Tag Manager allows you to take those people who have come to your website and then put them into that bucket so that you can remarket to them again. So first thing that I want you to do, get Google Tag Manager installed on your website if you haven't already. Again, I'll drop some links to some resources below so you can figure out how to do that. It's a no-brainer, honestly, but if you can't figure it out on your own, there's always Fiverr.com, Upwork. You can find a gig coder to do that for you for not too much money, because it's pretty simple. But if your website is WordPress based or whatever, there are definitely plugins that make it easier, and you can, you don't even really have to be a programmer in order to insert the code into the right places. And I'll make sure that you guys have resources for that below. First thing I want you to do once you've got that done is create your first tag to segment people out, and that's people who everybody who visited your website, because we're going to make an audience of those people later. Then I want you to think about what would be another criteria to use to help you better market to the people who have already come to your website and they didn't convert for whatever reason? So let's take a look at a couple things here that I think would be important. So we do two different, well, we do probably more than two, but primarily we do two different styles of boudoir. One is dark and moody, and one is light and airy. So let's say that we wanted to market to people who came to our website and viewed the pages about dark and moody, but didn't go to the contact page or didn't do some other. My internet is creepingly slow today for whatever reason. So we want to take these people who visited the dark and moody boudoir sample pages, and we want to create an audience from those people. And we also, oh, there we go. And we also want to take people who came to the light and airy boudoir page and create an audience for those people as well, so that we can then turn around and present dark and moody themed ads to the people who visited the dark and moody, and light and airy themed ads to the people who visited the light and airy boudoir pages. Now, there's also some other additional criteria, and this may be a bit too technical for you, but I want you to understand that there definitely are other options available when it comes to targeting. So you can say, I want to only create my audience, or I only want to tag people who came to the dark and moody boudoir page or who stayed on my website as a general thing for longer than X amount of time. When we start looking at Google Analytics in just a moment, I'll show you, and I apologize guys, we are having spring in Mississippi and the pollen and allergy stuff is off the chart. I want you to understand that there are some different criteria. So you can say, I tell you what, let's do. Let's just pull up some analytics real quick. Let's just look at my internet. I'm going to have to look at maybe getting another Wi-Fi antenna. The studio here is inside my main studio, and our building was originally built as a bank back in the 1920s. So this room that I'm in right now that I use for the YouTube studio was actually built as a bank vault. And so it's all like steel and concrete and everything. And I think I may be having a little bit of a challenge with my Wi-Fi signal in here. So let's get to, where do we need to be here? Okay, that worked fine back here. We'll just wait for it. So I'll explain to you guys. When you use Google Analytics, it tracks how long people spend on your website. It tracks how long people spend on any given page on your website. So one of the indicators of interest is how long did people stay? Did people stay on your website for, well, let's just take a look down here and see what we got here. This is on our Southern Exposures photography website. And this is, we haven't converted this site over to Google Analytics 4 yet, but we will take a look at a couple of things here. Let's take a look at, not that, let's look at content. That'd be a good spot to start. So I want to give you guys an idea of what things can be tracked and segmented out into audiences here. Let's see what we got going on here. That's not where we need to have this. We need to be in behavior. Sorry. Okay. So behavior, site content, all pages. This will show us exactly what I want you to see here. Okay, so if we look at this, this number one thing here is, okay, let's do date range, last 30 days, apply. Okay, so if we look at the top one here is our primary, the root of our website. So if you typed in southernexposures.photography, you would land on there. So that's usually where the majority of your traffic is going to come from, okay? And so if we look over here, this tells us that our average time on site, meaning the entire, every page on the website averaged together, is 54 seconds, okay? So this is, let me think about how that, you will see probably some very, very low numbers on most of the pages of your website. And that will just give you an indication of how important it is to capture people's attention right away, because people's attention is fleeting and it's very hard to do. So the average time that people are spending on the front page of our website is 19 seconds. The average time people are spending on our clients gallery list is 40 seconds. And then we can come down and look at some other things. When we get into client galleries, obviously those are things that people are going to spend more time on because they're looking at images. And so this is a client gallery, and it has an average view time of 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And then this is a gallery that we did a couple weeks ago for a, we had a celebrity event in Biloxi, and we did event photography for that. And this particular gallery was viewed an average of 4 minutes and 46 seconds, which is very much higher than our average. So let's just take a look really quickly at our boudoir portfolio page. So our boudoir portfolio page has an average time of 1 minute and 54 seconds. So if I were going to create an audience based on a timer, I would say, okay, I want to create an audience based on people who have visited that page for longer than 1 minute and 54 seconds, because if they've spent at least the average or more time on that page, my assumption is that they are interested in boudoir photography, and I want to create an audience so that I can then market to them with specific offers or specific information related to boudoir. So that's kind of how that works, and we can dig into this. Much more deeply once you guys have got your tags and everything installed on your website. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of what is available. So for us, we would want to segment an audience for people who are interested in the 2 different categories of boudoir that we offer. Now, another thing is this. So, and we'll talk specifically about style guides and stuff like that. I call them lead hooks. We've talked about this in the past. But let's think about this. If you have people who have come to your FAQ page, which tells me that they're interested, we should talk about probably some things that could be considered buying signals for people. Definitely when people start digging into the information on your website, that's an indicator that they're interested. Just going and looking at gallery pictures is not necessarily a great indicator, because a lot of people just look at pretty pictures as a form of entertainment. But if you find them on an FAQ page, on an About Us page, on a page that is primarily about information about your company or about your sessions or whatever, that is a really good indicator of interest. So you might want to consider building an audience based on those pages. Okay, so again, in the Google Tag Manager, you would create an event that was related to people visiting this page, and then in Google Analytics, we'll talk about that probably next week, you would create an audience based on those criteria that you defined in Google Tag Manager, and then in Google Ads, you would use that audience as the target for the advertising campaign that you're creating. So to sort of bring that around, Google Tag Manager tags them after they've performed a certain action. Google Analytics allows you to build an audience from the people who have been tagged for performing a certain action. And then Google Ads allows you to take that audience that you created and specifically target advertising to those people, i.e. remarketing, retargeting, et cetera, et cetera. So go through your website and make a list of places that you think might be good ways to target people, okay, to segment those people, to cut them out of the pack. So I'll use this as an example as well. If people have gone to your website and gone to your testimonial page, if you don't have a testimonial page, I highly recommend that you get a testimonial page. Create an audience based on people who have visited your testimonial page, and then use Google Ads to create a video campaign that does pre-roll video testimonials for people who have visited that page. So that was a little confusing, and I'll explain it to you. If people are looking at testimonials, they're probably interested. Video testimonials are the best way to communicate that your customers have had a positive experience with you. This internet today is on a crawl. Video testimonials are the best way for your prior happy customers to communicate with your future happy customers. Sorry about that. Video testimonials are the best way for your prior happy customers to communicate with your future happy customers about what made them happy. Okay? So if people have visited your testimonials page, you want to continue to reinforce that with them. So you should have a video campaign, a video remarketing campaign. Let me turn this thing off. You should have a video remarketing campaign that sends out video testimonials as YouTube pre-roll ads to people that you've pulled out of that audience. So there's another good place that you can use Google Tag Manager and the things that we've talked about in order to build an audience. Blog posts, if you have, how would I create or how would I leverage an audience that visited a blog post? Most of the blog stuff that we do is for SEO and not necessarily for marketing. But SEO, I guess, is marketing, right? So most of that is for SEO, but let's say that we were going to do a Valentine's promotion in February. I would recommend that you create Valentine content early, and I would recommend that you use some of your first contact marketing strategies, whether that's keyword ads. Probably not going to see a lot of activity on keyword ads, let's say in June for Valentine's. Hang on a second here. Allergy season, you gotta love it. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. So create your Valentine's content early and then create your blog post for it and start driving traffic to that. And this would be a really good way to leverage Facebook stuff. So let's say you've got a Facebook group, or let's say you've got a pretty good following on your personal or your business Facebook page, or let's say that you wanted to run some Facebook ads. If I were going to use Facebook ads to target Valentine's in February, you want to shoot your Valentine's stuff in January so that they can have it delivered by February, right? So the problem with that is you are going to be competing. If you wait until November, December to start advertising Valentine's, you're going to be competing with all of the Black Friday stuff and all of the Christmas stuff and all of the after Christmas sales and all that stuff. You're gonna find yourself in the most competitive time of the year for advertising to those. But what if you had already created an audience of people who were interested in Valentine's stuff, say in June, July, August, September, months before the event? So an advertising campaign on Facebook prior to the Christmas buying season advertising glut that happens, okay? So create ads that says it's not too early to start thinking about Valentine's boudoir, okay? Or you gotta be really careful using the word boudoir on Facebook ads because for whatever reason they've connected that with like naughtiness or whatever, and so it's hard to get ads approved and stuff like that. But you know, Valentine's photo session, blah 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 blah. Right? You just be a little creative in how you word your advertising. Once they get on the page, then you can obviously, you know, talk about boudoir and different things like that. But my point is this: if you ran $1 a day advertising campaign with the specific intention of building a segmented audience of people who are interested in Valentine's boudoir, and you started doing that earlier in the year, let's say June, July, okay? If you started doing that and you ran that for the 6 months leading into January, you would have a fairly significant audience of people who had visited your page and looked at information and maybe even gotten into your lead funnel, right? So you would want to put together a Valentine's boudoir style guide, a lead hook that gives people a reason for connecting with you, okay? So that's one idea of how you can use retargeting and remarketing audiences in order. So think about this, okay? So let's say you did this in end of June, first part of July. We ran all the way up to the Christmas season. You've got this audience of people built, okay? Now you're able to cut straight through all of that advertising glut and the noise that goes on in the marketplace during the Christmas season because you have already created this segmented audience. You're not trying to compete for attention in the same way that you would if you hadn't done that before. So you've already got these people. Hopefully you've gotten email addresses and phone numbers and stuff so that you can do a bit more direct remarketing, but certainly your retargeting would be more effective because you've created this audience and you're not having to try and muscle out first contact advertising along with all of the other big advertising companies that are going to be doing their pre and post Christmas advertising. So that's just one idea. So sit down and take a calendar and look at what events are going to be happening during the year that you want to advertise for, and then back up 6 months and say, okay, how would I start today to advertise that? Because I can tell you right now, if you're advertising Valentine's stuff in June, okay, number one, it's people are going to be curious about, okay, why am I seeing ads for Valentine's in June when Valentine's is not until February? So that would pique a little bit of people's interest there. And if you're providing them with good information that's valuable to them, so they look at that information, they go, oh, okay, well, that makes sense now. You know, I do need to think about my Valentine's boudoir session before Valentine's because there's obviously some lead time in there. You know, so really clients need to be thinking about Valentine's boudoir, honestly, around Christmas. And so you need to have their attention before Christmas or it's just going to be difficult to get through the noise. So anyway, we're off in the weeds a little bit on that. But that's how I would use blog content to set up a marketing scheme for something that's happening in the future. What else? Boudoir. Valentine's boudoir is obviously a thing. Let's take a look really quickly at the style guide. Let me get this out of our way here. My wife just finished this up, and so we're going to take a look at this. This is almost like a first look thing, but we're going to look at it and see what we got come up with. We've talked about many times in these videos about having a lead hook, giving someone a reason to give you their contact information. My wife is really good. She's a Canva master, a Canva ninja, and so she puts together all of our PDF documents and stuff. And so she just did this one, sent it to me right before we started the broadcast today. So I'm going to go through this with you guys just to show you what we do for our PDFs and give you an idea of what you can do. So as an example, we would run an ad that says, you know, essentially we would use more advertising speak, I guess, but essentially, you know, hey, give us your contact information and we'll give you this awesome boudoir style guide. This one is client wardrobe guide. So we'll give you a wardrobe guide, because one of the questions that clients have is, what am I going to wear? Okay, what should I wear to my boudoir session? And another thing that they think about is posing. So if you didn't do anything else this year aside from putting together a style guide and a posing guide, you will increase your sales dramatically if you use these lead hook techniques and you capture contact information from people. So anyway, this is the ever gorgeous Madison, who shoots with us from time to time, and she is on the cover. And then we talk about lingerie. Okay, obviously lingerie is one of the things that, you know, people are going to want to wear in their boudoir session. And so we go through and we talk a lot about, you know, what's the history of it? What are some of the things that you need to know about lingerie? Choosing the right lingerie based on your particular body type. And we go through and we talk about the hourglass body type and the triangle body type and the rectangle body type and the inverted triangle body type and the rounded body type. So this guide is designed to do a couple of things. Number one, its primary goal is to capture contact information from people, right? We're giving you this valuable piece of information in exchange for a valuable piece of information from you, which is your contact information, right? That's the primary goal. The secondary goal is for people to go through here and read this and go, wow, you know, this is a really professionally laid out document. And if they are this professional and they have this attention to detail in their PDF, what can I expect from my session? And that's really what you want people to do, is you want people to know, trust, and love. So this is happening at the trust level. Anything that you can give people that sets you apart from the crowd, that says, hey, we're different in a positive way, is always a good thing. And we're talking about 10 pages here. That's not a huge document to create. You know, it's the value of it far outweighs the effort necessary in order to put it together. So, you know, one of the things that you guys should probably put at the top of your list in terms of things to get done in the next, you know, days or weeks or whatever, is get your style guide put together. And also, in addition to sending this out as a lead hook or whatever, we make sure that all of our clients get this information prior to their session. Now, let's talk a little bit about why that's important. And we're going to be wrapping up here in just a few minutes, but I see in the groups where people are saying, oh, hey, you know, I had this super demanding client, or I had a client who tried to take control of the session, or I had the client who was trying to tell me how she should pose, blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you why that happens. And this is just my opinion based on being a professional photographer with over 30 years of experience and experience in sales and marketing. If you have a client that's trying to take over your role, it's because you haven't positioned yourself as an authority in that role. It's just that simple. So if you send people posing guides and they look at that and they see the difference between a good pose and a bad pose, that just leads them further down the path of trusting you as the authority on posing boudoir photography. if you have provided them with valuable information on what to wear and what not to wear, that just moves them further down the road of seeing you as an authority when it comes to creating gorgeous boudoir images. This is doubly and vitally important for photographers who don't have a studio, okay? There is something very, very authentic. There's a certain amount of validity that comes from a client walking in the door and seeing our lobby area that's covered with gorgeous photos and coming into the studio and seeing the various shooting stations and sets that are there and seeing the hair and makeup area. There's something that happens there that causes our authority score to go up. I'm not saying that you have to have a studio, but if you don't have a studio, you need to put additional effort into making sure that you are giving them the opportunity to see you as an authority. One really simple way to do that is to provide them with professional documents that give them information that's going to be valuable for them, okay? Create your lead hooks, create your PDF documents, create a 3-page thing on the 5, 6, whatever, the 6 pieces of lingerie that you should never wear to a boudoir session. Number 1 is the whole little baby doll thing. Looks worse, super hard to shoot. Like there's very few body types that a baby doll piece of lingerie is going to be flattering for. And most of the girls, most of the women who choose that are the very ones who don't need to wear it. And it's usually bigger women, and I get it, I know what's going on. You're trying to hide this part of your body that doesn't make you happy, and instead what it does is it just makes you look even larger than you are in reality. Bodysuits, you can't go wrong with that, okay? You know, make sure that they know that if they're going to wear stockings, or if they're going to wear something that is strappy, that has a lot of crisscrossing straps and stuff on it, things like fishnets and things like that, get a size bigger than what you would normally wear, a size larger than what you would normally wear, because nothing. If you're trying to minimize the size of your body, it's very difficult to do that when you have muffin tops at the top of your stocking top, right? And so if you buy them a size bigger than what you would normally wear, then you've got space in there. And as a photographer, you know, I've got fashion tape and I've got a million little clips in different sizes, and we're going to make you look great, even if we have to stitch things together in the back with some creative uses of whatever. You know, I mean, we've done duct tape, like the whole back of someone's shirt or whatever they were wearing would be adjusted with duct tape, and we have double-sided fashion tape, so we'll put that on your boobs and stick the top down so that you get the nice cleavage. And I mean, but being able to communicate that to people in on the front end during the trust phase of their exploration is invaluable to everybody, and it's super, super important if you're shooting out of Airbnbs or you're shooting out of hotel rooms or whatever, because there is a little bit of potential legitimacy and authority gap that could exist there. So you want to make sure you're filling that in. We're about to wrap this up, guys. I appreciate the fact that you guys are watching these videos. Hopefully they're providing you guys with information that's useful for you. I know sometimes I get on a tangent, but I want you guys to be successful. I firmly believe that the better that you are at photography, the better photography is for everyone. A rising tide lifts all ships. So if you improve your business and I improve my business, the industry as a whole benefits from that. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, guys. You know, I mean, I put this content out for you guys just because I want to share the things that I know with you, and hopefully I can help you grow and learn and all that stuff. So subscribe. That's really helpful. Hit that like button, thumbs up. That tells YouTube that you like this content and you'd like to see more of it. And drop a comment below. Let me know what topics you want me to cover or whatever, if you have questions or whatever. Definitely, if you're watching this on Facebook and you haven't popped over to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel, please do that. Ring that notification bell so when I get weird and I miss a week or two or whatever, and then I get back in, you get notified when we upload new content. Otherwise, I'm going to punch out for today. I love you guys. I hope that you are finding value in this. I want you to be as successful as you can possibly be. You know, I'll see you next time, guys. So you have a great day.